My name is Maya and welcome to the episode 40 of my knitting podcast where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. So today is I never know the date. Today is the 21st of December 2024 and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland where I live with my gecko. I have a ton of stuff to talk to you about today. I hope you're ready. The first one being, I have a pattern release. I have 2 finished objects, kind of. Actually 1.5, but you will see. I have 1 work in progress, 1 new cast on, and 1 super exciting swatch. But it's also absolutely hilarious, so I hope you're ready to see that. It's gonna be at the end of the episode. I'm looking at it right now. I promise it's gonna be fun. It's like an epic fail. You will see. So, yeah, so that's today's program. I also have 1 acquisition, which is actually a Christmas gift that I already got. I'll explain why. But it's also funny. Yeah, and I'm also a little bit sick. I'm a little bit stuffed around here, and sometimes my eyes decide to cry for no reason. Not because I'm sad, but just... Do you also have that when you're sick? Like, they become all red and they start to tear some water without reason, and yeah, it's horrible. And sometimes it happens. So I may have to pause to let my eyes suffer for a while until it feels better. So yeah, that's the situation for today. I just hope my voice doesn't sound too weird, but yeah. So first, what I'm wearing are my finished objects. So this one is the Roadtrip Shacket, which is my own design. I am super proud of it and I finally finished it. I just checked when I started it. It was the 4th of November, which means it took me a month and a half to complete, which is like double the usual time for me for a garment. I usually take 3 weeks. If it's a design, maybe 4. And I'm like, why did it take a month and a half? I know why, because this shoulder shaping with the texture was super difficult to do, but yeah. It's finally done, I'm super happy and I'm just glad I took the time to make it perfect. The yarn I used is Knitted by Onerock Air, and this color is Merkel 2024, which is dark burgundy purple. Yes, but I ran out. I noticed I would run out pretty early, so I decided to marl another colorway very similar that I had in stash. I don't even think you can see, but maybe you can tell that this side is slightly more red. And that's because I marled in, starting from here, another colorway which is Sade, which is a much older colorway and is just a burgundy. It doesn't have the purpley undertone, so that's why there is a slight difference in color. I have the same on the body. So I started marling here. I did 1 strand of Sade and 1 strand of Merkel for 1 row, and then 2 strands of Merkel for the other row for like 20 rows, and then I just had 1 strand of Merkel and 1 strand of Sade for the rest of the body. And you can hardly tell, so I'm pretty happy I managed to do that. And I have actually 2 of them here. So this one is Merkel, this one is Sade. As you can see, this one is a little bit less purple. And I have a little bit left, which is super annoying because I tried my best to finish everything. And I finished everything, but when I went to clean the project bag I used, I found this hidden in the corner. I had forgotten about it. So yeah, which is extremely annoying, is that since I'm doing 1 strand of this, 1 strand of this, I needed 1 strand of that to combine with it. But since I thought I didn't have anything of the Merkel yet left, I had to unravel a swatch. And since unraveled Knitted held double cannot be separated anymore, I had to use only the swatch yarn, which was not the marl but just this one, for the end of the sleeve. So on this sleeve I have like Merkel, Fade, the 2 held together, and then Merkel again. but then I found this. Anyway, it doesn't matter at all, and you probably didn't understand a single thing I just said. Whatever, I have some leftovers, and I'm annoyed, but that's just me. It doesn't matter. So, I think it will be pretty complicated today to stay on track. I'm sorry. The test call for this went out last week, and the test started this week, and I don't expect anyone to cast on yet, so we won't see other versions of the design just yet, because it's a holiday season and people are pretty busy. So I just think people are going to take their time to find the yarn they want to use, which is totally fine for me because the deadline of the test is like in March, so we have more than enough time. And yeah, for now this is going in a pause, because I would like to make another sample for myself as well, but probably in February. Because if you remembered, maybe in the last episode, I completely lost it when I saw how good it looked with a short sleeve, because I was not finished with the sleeve yet, and I saw on camera that the short sleeve versions look amazing. So I decided I was going to cast on a new version, but with short sleeves in a summer appropriate yarn. So this is like super warm, I'm currently sweating. And I would like to cast on something in a cotton and wool blend. Something very airy and summer appropriate, not too warm. But that's coming later. So until now, it's probably the last time you're gonna see this guy, and I'm just so happy about the result. I made the sleeves nice and long so that I can snuggle in them when I need to. Because, again, I'm planning to wear this guy when I'm on road trips, on the road with my boyfriend, in our van, and I just want it to be extra big and wide so that I can cuddle in it. And let me show you the mood board again, because I'm so proud of it, so that you can get an idea of the whole concept and the imagery I had in mind when I was designing this guy. Yeah, and also I haven't added the buttons yet. I have the button holes in the button band, but I haven't added the buttons because I totally forgot that I had to find buttons in order to put some on this. And since I don't own a button stash, I just don't have any. So for now, it's buttonless. Doesn't really matter, but yeah. It's supposed to have buttons on the button band as well as on the pockets. And yes, it has pockets. And I just love them. I wanted to mention, yes, of course, it's super itchy, because Nutiden is itchy for me. It has always been, and it will probably always be. And yeah, I'm wearing like a tank top underneath, so yes, it's super itchy. And it's not really a problem because I will be wearing like layering pieces underneath that, like at least a big t-shirt, and at best a long sleeve underlayer, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And usually when I'm road tripping, I'm also wearing a scarf, so I should be able to wear this on top of the scarf, which should protect my neck from the itchiness of this thing. That's what I'm trying to tell myself to mitigate the fact that I'm pretty sure it will be uncomfortable. But you know, when you reach a point in your life where everything is itchy and everything is uncomfortable and you just don't have a choice, you kind of deal with it. Everything is itchy anyway. It's not as if I had another solution, so that's how it is. There is only one design feature that I couldn't show you in the latest episode, which is the cuff, because I wasn't done yet. So let me just show you this little detail that I'm super happy about. I wanted to mimic the sleeves of a shirt jacket, but without going too far. Like, I didn't want it to have the opening on the side and have the button closure. That was too far. So I wanted something simple, but I still didn't want like ribbing. And I decided to go with this. So what I did is I did an I-cord bind off, 2 stitches I-cord bind off, and then I picked up 1 stitch from the I-cord and then I knit with smaller needles, and I did the anti-wall bind off that I have everywhere else on the garment here, and that way I have a nice smooth stockinette cuff, and I have this very cute line of stitches going around here, and as well as here on the bind where the bind off is. And I really like it. I'm super proud of the little detail. I could have done Latvian braid, but I don't know how to do them, and I was too lazy to learn, so I decided to do with the bind off and pickup. I also wanted to thank you all for the super nice comments on this guy in the latest episode. I wasn't sure that maybe the overall look of the texture on the shoulder and stockinette everywhere else and the drop shoulder thing was maybe a little bit too similar to some other designs, and I was definitely overthinking, so thank you all for reassuring me on that. I'm glad you're here, because yeah, it had been on my mind for a while, and now I'm finally feeling a bit better about that, and it's thanks to you. The other finished object I wanted to show is the one I have below this, which is the Simplistic Rib Cami by Like. Is it Like or Luke? I don't know. And I said it wasn't really a complete finished object, because it's not. It's still on the needles. I haven't finished it yet. So I have my needles floating here. I had to put it on another cable so that I could actually put it on me. And I have the ball that's still attached here. Because you cannot see anything when I'm just like this on the screen, so I can just say it's finished. And also because this is not for me, this is for my photographer as a part of the payment for the photo shoots we do. And I think by the next episode I'm gonna have it done, and I will already have given it to her, so I won't have it anymore. So I figured it was the last time I could show you. And the yarn I used is the suggested yarn, which is Stainless Yarn Duo. I have the tag here. Duo. And it's a little bit itchy. It's a cotton and merino or wool. What is it? Merino and wool, and it's itchy. So I'm glad this is not for me, because I wouldn't want to wear it for myself. If it's an outer layer like this, I can still have something underneath, but if it's like the inner layer that I cannot have anything else under, it's a little bit too annoying. So I'm glad I tried the yarn for someone else. I know she's less sensitive than me, because she has already lent me wool pants, and it was super itchy for me, and she was like, what? So I know she's less sensitive than me, so I think it will be fine for her. And she already tried it on, just for a few minutes though, so I don't think she would have noticed if it was itchy during while she was wearing it for such a small time. But yeah, this is how it looks like. I'm super happy. We have kind of the same size, so it should be fine on her. She's just a little bit smaller than me, and she has a shorter torso, so it looks very short on me. I mean, my belly button is here. But I think for her it's probably more like this. So I think I need to stop soon, because she told me she wanted it crop and she didn't want it to be too long, and I have quite a bit of yarn left, so I don't think I can finish the ball. I will need to stop earlier. I don't have anything else to add since last episode, because the only thing I did since last time is grafting the straps and knitting in the round for the body, which is just knitting in the round. I have added some waist shaping. I did one decrease for every 3 rows on each side, and that's it. That's not even the pattern, so I haven't blocked it. However, I have steam blocked it, and can you tell that you cannot tell when I switch from flat to in the round? Almost. There is no difference. And before steam blocking, you could definitely tell, because I have this thing. When you knit ribbing flat, one row, the knits lean in one direction and the purls lean in the other direction. So you have this weird zigzagging effect. And it's not wearing out, it's just that the stitches lean differently. And it was much worse in the other version of this that I did, that I don't have anymore, but I can show you a picture. And you can clearly see the flat knitting is like all zigzaggy, while the in the round is super clean and smooth. And it was happening here. but less, a lot less. So I thought there was maybe a chance it could block out. So I just gave it a quick steam block to see, and it disappeared. I didn't even need it to wet block it, which is excellent. So I'm super happy, especially since this one is not for me, and receiving a knit that's super expensive. Let's be real. With this kind of weird stuff happening, is not the best. So I'm really glad with this yarn it didn't happen too much. And I say with this yarn because it has of course to do with your way of knitting, but it also has a lot to do with the yarn you're using, the way it's plied and all of that. So if it happens to you, unfortunately there is not much you can do except changing the yarn. You can maybe try changing the type of needle you use, like wood or metal, and you can maybe try to go with a smaller gauge. But other than that, or maybe you could even try switching from continental to English. That could also help. But other than that, it's the yarn's fault. It's not yours fault. I know some people have been struggling with that, so maybe if this can help, I hope it does. And the last thing I'm wearing is, again, another Augustins number 22. As I said, I have a collection of them, and I just decided to wear them in the episode. I think this one is one of the biggest ones I have. It's pretty intense. And yeah, maybe it could be a little bit festive to have a green bow and a purple burgundy jacket. Yeah. So that's what I'm wearing. Now, I wanted to talk about my first work in progress, which is a new cast on, and also the pattern release, because how about I look at you while I talk instead of looking at the ground? Because my first cast on is the Halmoni Jacket, and this time this one is for me, because the other sample I knit is for my dad, which is way too big for me. So I finally found the time now that I have finished this one, I finally have the time to cast on my own sample of the Halmoni Jacket. So first, let me show you the other one, which is right here. So this is the one I knit for my dad. It's huge. Gigantic. And this is what the front looks like. It's a zipped up sweater with pockets. It has a saddle shoulder construction, it has all over cables, and the pockets are built-in, set-in, so it's not patch pockets. You have the I-cord edging next to the zipper, and you have double knit edgings at the collar and on the pockets here. There is ribbing down here, it's knit top down. And what I'm forgetting? It's unisex, it's size inclusive, and that's all. That's all the details about this. And the sun is out! So this one is knit using Cyrano by De Rerum Natura, which is the suggested yarn. It's classified as an Aran weight, but it can definitely be knit at a bulky weight. Actually, I have no idea how you could knit it at an Aran weight gauge, because this yarn is huge. And yeah, the stockinette gauge is 14 stitches, so that's that's between bulky and Aran. I guess bulky would be 12 stitches per 10 centimeters, and Aran is 16. So yeah, it's a big gauge. And for this sample I used almost 900 grams, so that's a huge garment, and that's actually not a lot of yarn. So this is very big and pretty lightweight, which is exactly why I chose this yarn, because you have a lot of yardage for 100 grams, which allows to have not too heavy garments. Because of the cables, it uses a lot more yarn, and yeah, I just wanted this to be less heavy. Let me tell you the story behind the garment. It's the last time, I promise. I know a lot of you know about it already, but yeah, just for the new faces around here, I'm just gonna tell you the story one last time. So this is the original garment that was knit by my grandmother, my Korean grandmother, which we called Halmoni. And she knit this for my dad like more than 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, I don't know, it was super long time ago. And this is knit entirely in acrylic, so it's super heavy. This one is smaller than the other one I knit, and it's like twice the weight. But it's a lovely garment, and it held up very well even after 25 years. I mean, it's peeling a little bit, but other than that, it's just in perfectly good shape. And my mom has always told me, since I started knitting, that I could reknit this guy in a little bit bigger size, because she said it was a little bit too small for my dad, which it is not, so I'm not sure where she got that from, but whatever. So I had this project in mind for a while, and when I finally thought I had the abilities to do it, I thought that I could make one for my dad, and then I could make one for my mom, and then for my brother, and then one for myself, and I was like, we are all different sizes, so if I need to grade this guy into all those sizes, I might as well release it as a pattern, right? And that's why I decided to make this my first garment design. It's mainly because I wanted to make it for all my family members, and so yeah, it was kind of the opportunity that arrived in my life. So this is the original one, and you can see it has the like squiggly cables, guys, and it has those columns of 3-stitch cables. It has a zipper, it has it has set-in pockets as well, and the ribbing and the double knit collar, and yeah, basically almost all the design features I have in the other one, except the construction, because this is knit in pieces bottom up, and there's no way I'm doing that. I just don't like it. I understand that knitting cables is easier flat, but a cardigan is knit flat anyway, you just have to purl a lot on the sleeves. But yeah, I just prefer in the round and top down. So I was thinking of a way to make this type of cable and the shaping I wanted to incorporate into a garment that I would like. And it took me a while. It really took a while. I tried a lot of stuff, and I finally decided on the saddle shoulder construction, which was the one that worked the best with my idea. So that's why I ended up on this one, and that's why it's the main difference with the original design is the top-down saddle shoulder construction. I also kept the yarn gauge, which is why I used something this bulky, even though I'm not really a fan of big gauges. This is like the biggest I have gone, I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to keep the kind of the scale of the cables. And I also added some, because the original design only has the squiggly guys and the small columns of 3-stitch cables. And I'm not really a fan of those. I don't really like the way those looks. And it's not a symmetrical pattern, as you can maybe tell. It's like a repeating pattern, which I don't really like either. I wanted something symmetrical, which is why I added those big guys. I just opened a stitch dictionary and I just tried to find something that would go with them. So those are exactly the same. And then I just incorporated those with them, so that I would have a kind of a sister, same but different look between the two garments. So that's the story behind this. And yes, so the pattern was released yesterday, the 20th, and it's available at 15% off until Sunday, the 22nd, so tomorrow. Today is Saturday. If you use the code Happy Halmoni, and it's available on Payhip and on Ravelry, and that's all. Thank you so much for the warm welcome until now. It just makes me so happy every time someone buys it. I'm like, you like this pattern enough to give me your money, and you want to have this in your wardrobe. It's like, it feels so because yeah, again, it's my first garment design, and I went too far. I mean, this is way too complicated for a first garment design, but I have zero chill apparently. And yeah, also because this has such a close to me and special story for my family, so yeah, it just feels very special. Because yeah, let me be honest, this is absolutely not the kind of garment I would knit for myself. I would never do this for me. I mean, I'm really not in the all over cables mood, but this screams Halmoni for me. It just reminds me of my grandmother so much, and that's why I really like it. It's just, yeah, this garment I remember it from when I was a kid. I remember my dad wearing this all the time, and when I was a teenager I wore it a lot as well because I was cold and I just stole it from my dad and he couldn't wear it because of me. And I spent so many winters just snuggling in this. Yeah, it's just... those particular cables just remind me of my grandmother, and that's why I love them. Alright, so those are for my dad. I mean, this is for my dad, and now I finally cast on one for me. So the other one is size 7 and this one is size 3. I'm way too hot now that the sun is out. It's gonna be fitting a lot better on me. So this is the back, obviously, but I'm just showing it so you can see. I just finished the 2 saddles and I have completed the short rows here. And I'm just starting the armhole section, so I'm just gonna knit straight in pattern until I reach the underarm, and then I'm gonna do some shaping, and then I'm gonna pick up at each side here and knit the front panels until the underarm, and then I will join everything and knit the body. The yarn I'm using is... I have the tag. This is Adelino by Roll Up the Sheep, which is a Portuguese brand, and I bought this at the My Swiss Mai festival, which is a very small festival, very local to me, and I was super surprised to see a Portuguese brand there. But it was the perfect yarn. It's bulky weight, it's very very lightweight, and it's very special. I really wanted something special, so I bought this, and this is one skein that's wound up. But let me show you a skein that's not. This is what it looks like. It's super rough. This is like the least processed yarn you can get. It's super rustic. I mean, not rough, it's kind of soft, but it smells like old sheep. The smell is so strong, sometimes I start knitting on it and I'm like, oh my god, it's itching my nose. It's like, the smell is super strong. And I have 11 skeins. But the problem is that this yarn is so minimally processed that it's actually... I don't have a single skein that's 100 grams, so I don't have enough yarn, I think. Because when I was in the shop I couldn't really say, hey, I think this skein is too small. Because yeah, this one is 98 grams and this one is 73. I mean, you can tell this one is so much smaller. Yeah, so I bought 11 skeins, but I think I only have 10. So I'm not gonna have enough, because I'm definitely not the type of person to buy one extra skein just to be sure. So yeah, I'm missing a skein and I don't think I will have enough. So either I knit the inside, the pocket linings, using a different yarn, and I have some of the Cyrano, this one, left, so I could do that, but it will probably look a little bit weird, so I should probably not do that. Or I can make it super cropped, which I really don't want, because this is an extremely warm layer, so I don't want it to be cropped. So I don't know, and I really don't want to order yarn just for one skein. Yeah, I know I will end up having to do the pocket linings with a different yarn, but it's annoying. I was okay with it back then when I bought the yarn, but now that I actually have to do it, I'm not okay anymore. Anyway, we will see when we get there. I have already finished the skein, actually. I think it was one of the biggest, so 95 grams. And I have knit, with that skein, I have knit the 2 saddles and 2 swatches. So that's one, and I have another one. So I managed to do double of this surface, which is not much for a whole jacket. But maybe it's enough. I don't know. We will see when we get there. The other thing is also that this yarn is so minimally processed again, that all skeins are different. I mean, they look similar, but when you look at what I have knit, for example, this swatch, it's very white. I have almost no brown streaks. I have a little, you can see it better on this side, I think. I have a little bit of a brown. It's difficult with the sun. I mean, I have almost no brown specks in there, but in one of the saddles the color is completely different. It looks like it's not the same yarn at all. This one is super brown, and yeah, but it's the same skin. So imagine the difference between skins. It's wild. So I think I was going to alternate skins throughout the whole project, but again, if I have one skin that's 75 grams and the other one that's 98, it's just super complicated. So what I decided to do is embrace the qualities of the yarn and just not alternate at all, and not even try to use a skin that looks like the other one when I switch. And I'm just gonna let the yarn do its thing, and I will have lots of horizontal demarcations between colors, but it's okay. It's gonna be fine. If it's like that for the whole garment, it's gonna be less visible than if it's just one big line in the middle of the garment. That's what I try to tell myself, so I think it shouldn't be too obvious. I think the light is still okay for now, but last time it got pretty chaotic at the end of the video, so I need to remember that I have shades on the balcony and I can actually lower them if the sun gets too weird, so I hope I will remember to do that later on. So yeah, that's my first cast on, and I was hoping to have it done by the release first, but then the Roadtrip Shacket took so much time that I couldn't, there was no chance I could finish it by yesterday. And even earlier because I wanted to block it and take pictures before the release, but yeah, no chance. And then my other goal was to finish it by Christmas so that I could wear it with my dad and take pictures with my dad in our Halmoni jackets, but not happening because I'm celebrating Christmas with my family in 4 days, so nope. So I don't know, maybe for New Year. I don't care anymore at this point. I'm just gonna see when I'm done with it. I don't beat myself up if I don't meet the deadlines. I try to, at least. Alright, the next work in progress is not very interesting, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. It's my vanilla Kite Heel sock, and I have done the heel again. I did it again, no, I did it already in the last episode, but it was way too big, like way too big. And I was not sure if I was going to unravel until the heel or unravel everything, because everything was too big. And I ended up only unraveling until the beginning of the heel, which is the beginning of the gusset here. And I sized down. And now it's better. I tried it on my boyfriend's feet, which has the same size feet as the recipient of this. And now it's too big, but it's too big the same everywhere, which is fine. It's a lot better than just like a little bit too big and way too big. And I was still not sure about that because I like my snugs, no. I like my snugs when they are snug. I like my socks, not snugs, socks when they are snug, but my boyfriend likes his socks. What's the opposite of snug? Loose. And we didn't really know if the recipient was in my team or in my boyfriend's team, but my boyfriend, who knows him better than me, said that every time he sees him, he's wearing socks that are baggy, so we assumed he was probably in the I like my socks loose team, so I'm gonna continue that way. And that's all. I redid the heel. I still love the Kite Heel. It's still super nice to execute, and I'm almost done with the sock, and that's it. The pattern is by Celine Phaeton, and I love it. I recommend it. The size, I don't even know, and who cares, because you don't know the size fit of the person I'm knitting for, so what would you do with the information anyway? So I don't know. And the yarn I'm using is, I have the tag. Lang Yarn Super Socks, Greek mythology thing, and the colorway is Ares. Alright, next up. You're not ready for what you're about to see. Yeah, first I need to tell you the story behind this thing. So I'm going to show you a swatch. and the swatch went horribly wrong because yesterday I was... This is itchy. Yesterday I published the pattern for the Halmoni jacket and I completely fried my brain doing that, especially since I've been sick since the beginning of the week and it's worse and worse every day. Especially in the evening. So now it's the morning, so I'm fine, but yeah, as the day passes it gets worse. So I used all my brain in the morning to publish the pattern, and then the afternoon came and I decided to just chill out and knit on my project. So I knit the saddle of this, and then I knit the swatch I'm about to show you. I messed up both of them because I messed up the first row of the saddle here, and so everything else was offset, and I noticed it when I started to pick up the stitches here. So I had to unpick all the stitches and unravel the whole saddle because I made the mistake here. So that was nice. And I also completely messed up the swatch I'm about to show you. It's super funny. I just love the way it looks, but I'm not gonna show you just now. Okay, so let me tell you the story. It's a super big announcement and it's super exciting. And I've been teasing about it for a few months. 2 months, I think. I mean teasing, I just mentioned it here and there. But now that I'm ready to work on it, I can finally make the announcement. So before doing the announcement, let me explain the whole story behind it. So, this spring, another designer put out a design that I really loved and I really wanted to knit. But then before buying it, I went on the pattern page on Ravelry and I checked out all the pictures and I noticed it had zero shaping whatsoever. It was just a rectangle for the body with 2 holes for the sleeves and then 2 straight sleeves coming out and just a little bit of front neck shaping, and I was like, this is never gonna fit me. It's like, no chance. So I was trying to think how I could modify it to fit me, and it was getting so intense that I was like, I can just use the stitch pattern because it has a all over texture. I can just take out the texture, the stitch pattern, and just make my own thing with my own shaping and a different construction, because it was just a like drop shoulder thing and I don't really like that. So I was trying to find another type of construction that would work with the stitch pattern, and I also wanted to make it something a little bit more interesting by introducing another stitch in there, which would probably be stockinette. When you have something textured next to something plain, it makes the texture pop. I wanted to do that. So I used some yarn I had in my stash and I made this. So this is my swatch, and this is called the long slip stitch, and this is a contiguous shoulder construction, so it looks like this from the front. And I decided to use 2 colors, so I'm alternating the color, and since the long slip stitch is a slip stitch texture, you have this nice effect. I used, as you can see, a purple and an orange, which have exactly the same, how do you call that? The same value? Oh no, I forgot the word. Yeah, if you take a picture of this and you put it in black and white, you will only see one value of grey. So they have exactly the same value, but they have opposite colors. Purple and orange are opposite of the color wheel. I mean, it's purple and yellow, but purple, orange work the same. And that way you can still see that there is a difference in color, and it gives this very, very interesting effect that I really love. So low contrast, but opposite colors. Beautiful, gorgeous. And I liked this swatch so much that I decided to send it for a magazine, a publication that was doing a submission design call thing. And I sent it to Making Stories, and I called it the Melon Sweater, because this texture, if you use like a beige, a greeny beige and a dark green, looks like melon skin, kind of. So that's why I called it the Melon Sweater. I just thought it was also super cute. And it wasn't selected, but then the Hannah Lisa, the person behind Melon Stories, making stories. She said we could ask for feedback on the design, so I asked her to give me a feedback on that, and she said actually she really liked the design and it made it into the shortlist, which is the final list before they make the final decision of the designs. And the only reason it wasn't selected is because I applied for a summer issue, and since this is a slip stitch fabric, it's kind of two layers of fabric together, like color work would be. So it's a little bit too thick, and even though it's fingering weight, they thought it would be maybe too hot for summer, and it's the only reason it wasn't selected. So I'm like, wow. I was very close for making it into the magazine. And so that gave me a lot of confidence, because first, this is amazing. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is beautiful. And I really wanted to go ahead and publish this, but at the time, this was like in March or April, and I hadn't published my first pattern, the Skeeter skirt, yet. So I was really too scared to do this on my own. Even though it's beautiful, it's still kind of complicated, and it's fingering weight. And yeah, I really wasn't sure I could do it. So there is a yarn dyer. A lot of yarn dyers do this, but sometimes they do collabs with the designers, where the designer will design a pattern using the dyer's yarn, and then when the pattern comes out, the dyers makes kits, for example, not always, for this particular design for all the sizes, and you can buy the kits and the pattern, etc. You get the idea. So that's a collab between a yarn dyer and a designer. And I knew this yarn dyer, which is a pretty big brand, like really, does it with all kinds of designers, like well-known or rookie designers. So I was like, I have nothing to lose if I ask them if they want to collaborate with me on this guy. So I might as well try. Worst case scenario, they say no, and that's all. And best case scenario, they say yes, and I can finally publish this thing that I love so much with the help of a bigger brand. So I sent them an email. I still laugh at myself for being so brave, I guess. Sent them an email like in July, I think. I had just sent out the Skeeter skirt test call, and yeah, we just started the test call, so I was feeling a little bit more confident having this in my background to contact them. It took me a month to muster the courage to contact them. So I sent them an email and I never got an answer. So I decided to go ahead and buy the yarn myself to make it my own design, but still using the yarn I wanted to use from this dyer, because I thought the colors would be just too perfect. It took me this long actually to make it come to fruition, because I was trying to find the perfect colors for this. Because I wanted colors that would be bright, but also not in your face, like not hot pink or not highlighter yellow or stuff like that, but I wanted them to be bright and there, but still go well together, and that's actually difficult to find. And this yarn dyer could do that. So I ordered yarn from a pre-order from them in I don't know, August or September. And I knew it would come, I think it was September. And I knew it would come a lot later, like in late December. And it was fine for me, because I had already planned, I had made my video for the fall plans, and I had mentioned this swatch, and I wanted to cast it on in December because I wanted to finish the Halmoni, and then I wanted to knit the road trip, so I knew I wouldn't have time for the melon before December. So it was fine for me if the yarn took ages to come in. And then I got an answer. Like 2 months after my mail, I got an answer and they said yes, they accepted the collaboration, and I was like, I almost cried. I was just so happy, and I mean, you imagine my excitement when I saw this answer. So without further ado, let me show you the yarn, because since they accepted, they decided to take my order and send it before everyone else using the yarn they have dyed to take the pictures. So that's why I received my yarn before. Some people, when I did an episode where I showed my acquisitions, and some people were like, why did you receive your yarn so early? And that's why. It's because of the collab. So let me show you the yarn. It's explored. I just can't believe it. So I'm doing a collab with explored and fibers. Yeah, so yes. Those are in the earthy sock base, which is a fingering weight non-superwash merino yarn. It's super soft, it's super lovely, I really love this base. And the colorways are Butterfly Pea Flower and In Bloom, and those were in the Farmer's Market collection. And I really wanted to use this yarn because, I mean, Melon, Farmer's Market, hello! It was just so perfect. So yeah, I just found the best combination from the pre-order, from the collection. And I thought that these two were too good together. They are super bright, but not in your face. And they go so well together. And I love that one of them is like lightly variegated, but with a lot of colors, because it's exactly what I wanted. Colors, but not in your face. This is just perfect. So I finally cast on my swatch yesterday. And it's like the most epicest of all the epic fails. I've just done... Yeah, it went horribly wrong. Because I was trying to do the same thing as this, but it didn't work out at all. It looks like a... I don't know what it looks like, but it's certainly not a shoulder. So, two things happened in this one. The first one... No, first, can we take a moment to appreciate how beautiful the yarn is? I have the striping on the shoulders here, on the stockinette, which is beautiful. And then I have the texture here, in the slip stitch pattern. This is not blocked, so it's why the lighter color is really recessing behind. But yeah, when I pull on it, you can see the other color appearing, and it's beautiful. I mean, look at this. From the side, you cannot see it as almost, but from the front the color appears. And if you could feel how soft this is, it's just, I just love it so much. But what happened? This is a contiguous shoulder construction, which means that here on the shoulder, on the body, you increase at every row, and then when you switch to the shoulder here, you stop increasing here next to the stockinette, and then you start increasing at the arm. But you increase every row here, but here you're supposed to increase every 2 rows. But yesterday, my brain was so fried that I completely forgot to do that, and I continued increasing on every row here. Which means my sleeve have way too many stitches, and it's doing that. It's doing because I had too much stitches here. I just wasn't thinking, and when I was knitting on it, I was like, this is looking super weird. Of course it is. So that's the first issue. That's why you have this happening. And the second issue is that my bind off, my hem here, it's a folded over stockinette hem. I have way too many stitches as well. And this one I'm not really sure what's happening, because here on this swatch I don't think I have decreased before doing the hem here. So I have just all the stitches here, and then I just switched from the texture to stockinette, and then I just did a purl row, and I knit again in stockinette, and then I just sew down the lag stitches. And it's laying perfectly flat. But in this one, it's not. The hem is way too big, which is why it's rippling like that. And I'm not really sure why, because I have the same number of stitches. Maybe my tension has changed a ton here, but then I'm not sure why it's doing that. Maybe blocking will solve it completely, because maybe it will elongate the fabric like that and it will just lay flat. I don't know. But I need to rip it back anyway because of the issue on the increase of the sleeves. So yeah, I will just rip it back and see what I do for the edge. Maybe I can just decrease some stitches. I should decrease stitches. Because the funny thing is that this slip stitch pattern is actually very similar to the one I used here, which is a complete coincidence because, again, I need this like in January or February, and I started this like in October, November. So there is almost a year between them. And when I finished the texture here and I was wearing it, and I was coming back to this one because I was planning to cast on afterwards, I was like, hey, it's the same thing. Because this is a 4-row repeat where you slip the slip stitch for 3 rows. And this is the same, except when you knit the slip stitch, you also cable it. It's the only difference between the two, which is funny. But yeah, so it's supposed to fit. This is just hilarious. It's supposed to fit like this on the shoulder. Maybe if I pull it enough, I can show you. Yeah, it's supposed to be like this, minus the distortion because I'm pulling on it, but you get the idea. Let me show you with the other one. It's gonna be much better. Ah! So this is what the shoulder is supposed to look like. And I actually find it very interesting to see the difference between low contrast and high contrast. Yeah, it's just interesting. And I also really need to block it to see if the contrast color is going to pop out more, because in this one there is actually a balance between the contrast color and the main color, and it doesn't really seem like there is more of one versus the other. It seems like there is the same amount of purple than orange when you just look at this. Versus in this, you can definitely tell there is a lot more blue than the other one. So I don't know if blocking will change that. And I need to block it to find out. So that's the next step. And also having this like that made me think that a short sleeve version would be super cute. Because I thought this one to be a sweatshirt. No, sweater. I forgot the word sweater. But since it's for like spring, summer, you could definitely have it with the shorter sleeves. So, what will be happening is that Explorer Knits, I bought this yarn myself, by the way, this is not sponsored. But Ali offered to send me yarn for a second sample, and I think I will do a short sleeve version. And I think I would like to try the new linen base they have. And I told her she could decide on the color palette, so I don't know yet. I'm still waiting on an answer. But yeah, there will be a second sample. But not just yet. I think I will take my time during the holiday season to knit this guy, write up the pattern, and then if everything goes well, the test call should come somewhere in January. I don't know yet, we will see. But yeah, that's the plan. The Melon Sweater is my next design and I'm super excited about it. Alright, so that's it for this one. The big announcement for today. And I have one acquisition to show you, which is also a funny story. If you saw my latest episode, I talked about the new pink down jacket I bought for myself, which is like the brightest pink ever, and that I love so much. And the first day I got out with it, wearing it, I went to a yarn shop and I saw a skein of pink yarn that was exactly the same pink, but I didn't buy it because I have too much self-control. But I couldn't stop thinking about it, and then my brother wrote to me and he said, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I said, can you buy me this pink skein, please? So he bought the pink skein, and I told him, you can just say that I'm gonna pick up the order at the shop because I can go there pretty easily, so just don't pay for shipping and I'm gonna get there to buy it. I'm gonna get there to pick it up. And so I did that yesterday. And It's so pink! Yeah, so it's even pinker in the sunlight, but yeah, whatever. It's a super pink skein, and I'm planning to knit myself a hat to go with my pink down jacket, and it's gonna be glorious. And what I really love about this skein is that it's not just pink, it's also variegated with red, and I just love that. I think it's just the perfect thing to not make the pink hat just look like a condom. So this is perfect. My only concern is that this has 10% of nylon, and even though the merino wool is like a 21.5 micron, which is super soft, there is a chance it will be itchy, because my forehead is like the most sensitive foreheads on earth. So I'm not sure, but we will see. I'm planning to knit a muscle bro hat. And I would really like, I mean, first I will put this in a, how do you say emballer? Emballer, un cadeau. Pack! I will pack this and put it under the Christmas tree that I don't have, even though we are doing Christmas at my place. And pretend that my brother is gifting it to me on Christmas. I just think it's funny. So I'm gonna pack it, and then I hope, I would like to cast on the hat as a Christmas cast on. That would be just super fun, I think. But I also have another skein of the same base as those two that I bought during the same pre-order, and this color is Heirloom, which is an absolute perfect red. It looks very not red in the sunlight, but it's like the brightest red. It looks orange. It's red, it's just red. And I wanted to cast on the camisole. Very similar to this, but with a round neck, because I need it. I really need another camisole in my life, because I'm struggling to find stuff to wear, because I just need layering pieces. So I need both, equally. And this would be perfect as a Christmas cast on, but this as well. So I don't know which one should I cast on. If you know, please tell me. Pink hat, or I'm planning a camisole number 9 by my favorite things knitwear. In this muscle bro hat, camisole number 9. What do I do as Christmas cast on? Help me. Do I do both? No, I won't do both. Yeah, so that's all. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching until now. The lighting is becoming chaotic again, so let me just go in the sun. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for your nice comments. In the latest episode I talked a little bit more about my personal situation and the difficulties I'm currently having, kind of. I vaguely touched on that. And despite me being very cryptic about it, you all showed so much support in the comments, so it really warmed my heart. It was very much needed, so thank you very much for that. I felt a lot better after opening up, even just for the slightest. So thank you a lot for your nice comments. Thank you for being here, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of everything I talked about today, and leave me another comment if you want. And yeah, all of that. Happy holiday season to all of you. Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates. I'm gonna come back next week with my winter knitting plans that I'm super excited to film. I'm just like, I just can't wait. I want to film it right away. I have so many stuff I want to talk about. So yeah, come back for this video, it's gonna be a good one. And until then, Merry Christmas, happy knitting, and yeah, thank you so much for being here. I will see you next time. Bye!